Good day. Today, we're going to look at some shortcuts within MainView SRM. So first of all, we can type in the about SRM command. And what this does is it actually gives us some information about the release level. So it's 7.9. The RSL level, which is our maintenance level, which is at 1910. The SMUF location, which is actually the SRM unit vector table location within the operating system. Our operating system level, we're at 2.4, the last IPL, and what our components and the codes associated with them and whether we're licensed or not. So it lets us know very quickly what we have and are we up to date. That's the first one. Second shortcut in terms of best practices is the ADMEMA. This is an administrative active members view. So when we type this in, it actually gives us a list of the members that are loaded at startup. So these are the members from the SMM sys00 member that are loaded at startup. So our calendar definitions, our critical data set definitions, database definitions, and so on, all the way through system and variable definitions. As you'll notice, the active indicator says yes. So these are the active members that are on this particular system. When we go into this view, we're only working with the active members that are loaded in storage, which prevents us from updating any non-active members and then refreshing the wrong member if we did it from 3.4 or if we did it from another view. If we scroll to the right, it tells us the actual ParmLab member that these members are in. And this column here, this is the data set concatenation order. So this is the first data set in the concatenation. Another shortcut best practices is the ADFUNC view. This is the administrative functions view. So when we're in this view, we hit enter, it gives us a list of all of our functions. It tells us whether the function is active or not, and it gives us our function list suffix and our rule list suffix, and tells us also the level of messaging and the level of the SMF data that will be cut to the SRM SMF record. It also informs us whether we're licensed for that particular function or not. Here in our demo system, we're licensed for everything, so every function is going to have a Y next to it. We can scroll down and we can see. Now, what this allows us to do when we're in this view versus editing or browsing or updating or refreshing from other areas of the panels, it allows us to only update the function list and the rule list that is associated with that particular function. So if I was to go down to, say, AutoDS, I can put EF, and that is to edit the function list. So it only edits the function list, and as we can see, we're in a TSO edit session. So our data set is bmcscm.demoplex.ebbparm, and the member is smflstad. So this is the AD suffix of our function list member. We're allowed to edit it. If you do not know all the commands, and there's several commands, so we can do several actions here. So there are a lot of things we can do from within this view. We can browse, we can edit, we can display, we can refresh. So if you don't know all the functions, always hit PF1 with your cursor in the command field, and it will tell you all the available actions that you can do against a particular function. So we could activate the function here if we wanted to. We could browse the function list or the R list. We can change the function list or the R list suffix. So if we had something that we had changed in 3.4, we could change it. Display the contents in storage. This is always very useful so that we can actually see what was loaded, and then edit the function list, edit the rule list. We can deactivate. So there's several several options that we can do to look at information for these particular functions and the particular members associated with those functions. Right? Another good shortcut from an administrative standpoint, best practices. Um, there are many ways to get to the tape information. So if we were to do tscan ls, this actually gives us a listing of all the tape scan output files. So it's by the date that they were created, which allows us to then go in, put our cursor on, and then go select the data for that particular day. The view that it takes us to is the easy SRMT. So this is the default view for if I wanted to go to the most current collection of tape information. I just type in easy SRMT, and then it takes me to that information. So this is another best practices for shortcuts. The last shortcut best practices in terms of SRM to look at some information is the component status. So if you looked at compstat gives you the information for all the particular components on this particular LPAR that are either active or inactive. So it gives you the information of the status of that component and tells you whether you're licensed for that particular component or not, and also tells you the started component name. So if you were to look at the sysout from the SRM starter task, you would see these particular component names either active or inactive based on whatever you're licensed for or whatever you're starting on that particular component. And then this is the actual starter task name. All right, so we give you that starter task name, and then we give you the Plex name that you're running in, and then whether they're active or not. Okay, so thank you for today's session. These are shortcuts, best practices tips.